Chommie Taka. Hello, it's Chommie. Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Bokhadi and I am a Motswana nurse working and living in the UK. If you're new here, hello baby. Welcome to the channel. I hope you're here to stay. Right guys, I'm so happy that you guys are here. I am really looking forward to sharing this particular information that I've been getting quite a lot of questions on, but also other than that, I just really thought that it would be quite ideal to see to share this quite what is it, information that I'm waiting most of that I've been getting questions on how to relocate to the UK. Hi Bokhadi, I'm a nurse and I really want to work out, I really want to see myself living in the UK. Hi Bokhadi, I'm relocating next month. What do you think, or what would you advise me to pack in my bags? Hi Bokhadi, how's the weather like that side? I'm arriving next week. Hi Bokhadi, how's the nursing industry that side? How's the money? How's what? And when I get to do my research, like quite a lot of number of people have family in Botswana or South Africa, wherever questions I've been getting from, and I really thought that, you know what, it would be quite ideal just to share like maybe a handful information that people would probably appreciate and would really use, because I've also been there. I mean, like, I have my son here who came like I think 2 weeks later after I arrived here. So yes, how do you relocate to the UK with your family, either your spouse, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your child, your children, etc. So let me start with your children, right? Like, if you have children, what I did was something that really worked out for me. The good thing is that I was helped by my agency. She advised me quite a lot that, Bokhadi, you need to get your son, you don't leave him behind. And also I was looking at the fact that my mom is here, so leaving my son behind was not ideal at all. Like, there wouldn't be anyone living that I would be like very satisfied leaving him with, you know. So I was like, you know what, I really need to do. So I went on and did my research, and here I am with my baby here. So the best thing that you could do is, well, I'm just gonna start off with where you get your course and your visa, right? Let's say you've gotten your visa and now you're relocating to the UK or wherever. So the best thing to do is, after you've gotten your visa, this is when you've gotten your visa, right? This is applying for your children to come after you. There's where you apply for your children's visa to come with you. Like, when you're traveling or when you're arriving in the UK, you could come and tag along with them on the same day, and then you guys arrive here and settle together here. And then there's the option of you coming here first and then they come later. And then there's the other option of when you're applying for your visa, you could tell your agency, and then when you apply for your visa, you could apply for your children's visa at the same time. Or you could apply for your children's visa once you've gotten yours. So what I did was I applied for my children's, or for my son's visa after I got my visa. So the process is just very simple and very straightforward. So for the option of applying after, so say maybe you've gotten your visa, what happens is afterwards you're just gonna go onto the www.uk.gov website, and then you use the and then you're just going to go on the option of dependent, and then you choose your visa. Because I think we're tied to visa, if I'm not mistaken. I think we're tied to skilled visa, working visas. So on that visa, you're just gonna choose which visa you're on, and then you put on all the necessary documentation that you need. So the first thing first that your child will need is definitely like a valid national passport. So if your son or your daughter does not have one, consider doing that as soon as possible before you do that visa, right? So yeah, you're just gonna do all that, and then what you're gonna do is you're gonna put your child's visa under your visa. So basically there's like a section on the application page where it just wants you to like put your COS number that you've gotten from your agency, right, or from the trust that you're gonna work for. So the COS number is just gonna come up there, and then you're just gonna put it there, and then they'll have to do their research, whatever that they're gonna be doing, and then they just put your child under that COS or under that visa. So then you're done. So then from there, obviously what you need to do is, what they require is you have to do a TB test, which is required for all. I mean, this is the most annoying thing. I'm like, where would my child get TB? And then as young as he is, because my son came when he was like 3 months old, And I was so annoyed by the fact that he had to do a TB test. I'm like, where on earth would he get a TB as young as he is? But it's something that is very, 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 very mandatory, according to the UK immigration. So what you'll do is, you're gonna have to do a TB test for your child. So say your child is less than 5 years old, what they'll do is they won't do any medical any medical what do they call this, look at me, look at this nurse. Yeah, they won't do any advanced tests, like any radiology tests, you know, like your ultrasounds or your x-ray on your children, because the waves may be too quite sensitive on the child. So they wouldn't do that, but they're just gonna allow you to have like a one-on-one talk with your doctor, or with the doctor at the TB test, at the iOS TB testing center. And remember, there's only one place where you only do like a TB test. I'm sure like if you've done your TB test, you know what I'm talking about. So exactly where you did your TB test, that's where your son or your daughter or your child is going to do the TB test. So you're just gonna do the TB test where they did it, and then you just the only difference is only that because you went to GPH or wherever you went to, whichever country it is. So sorry, because I'm just referring to my country because that's where Botswana did everything. That's where Botswana do everything. So I'm just trying to like name the places because I'm just quite familiar with that. But the hospital that you did your TB test, the only difference is that you probably did an imaging test, which is like the x-ray that you did. But then your child, if your child is less than 5 years old, they won't have to do like the x-ray or whatever test. They're just gonna have a one-on-one questionnaire with the doctor, and then the doctor will just issue out the TB test. And then the other good thing is when you're doing a TB test for a child that's less than 5 years old, they don't have to book. So you just have to call them and then just tell them, my son or my child is less than what, and then they'll tell you when to come, and then they'll give you a date from there. So it's like a very, very near date. So it's nothing to do with like having to book well in advance like we had to do, because they're like long lines, and then there's a long queue of people. So you wouldn't have to do that. So you have to do your TB test, right? You have to do the child's TB test where you did your TB test, just the questionnaire. You don't have to book, and then you're done. So afterwards, you're gonna have to apply for your visa. So there's a good advantage with the IAS people is that if probably you want to apply for your visa as soon as possible, or you haven't done the TB, you can apply for your visa and then later on provide the TB certificate, right? But I always advise that it's quite easier, or I think it's much easier to provide all the documentation when you apply for your visa. So where you apply for your visa, the TLS contact place, that's where you're also going to take your son's or your daughter's passports to, and then they'll take it and they'll do those, and then they're gonna have to do that biometrics there. Also, if a child is less than 5 years old, they're not gonna take their fingertips as well. They're just gonna take a photograph of your son or your child, and then you're good to go. Then your son's or your child's visa will be out in like, how long did mine take? I think my son's visa took like 2 to 3 weeks, and then it was out. So you're good to go. So for children that are above 5 years old, it's just quite the opposite. They're just considered as children that can do imaging tests. So they're gonna have to book a TB test. They're also gonna have to also do the imaging, the x-ray imaging, and then carry on with the rest of the processes. We're going to TLS, taking the fingerprints, and then doing the biometrics processes. So it's just basically, so if you have a child above 5 years old that you want them to come, they're just technically going to do the same processes that you did. So yeah, it's as easy as that. And then your child's visa is out, you travel together. If you want to travel together, you need to communicate with your agency first and your trust. I think that is one of the things that I really, really need to emphasize when you're when you're planning the whole thing, because apparently you also have to have your own accommodation when you do so. So if you do have a family member at home that your child can remain with while you're still settling in here, I think that would be a best thing to do. But if you do have family here, yeah, you might as well take along with your children, and probably ask your family members here to take care of your children in the meantime, or to look out for your children in the meantime while you're still settling. And then after settling, you can take them along, right? But I preferred to come here later on. To come here first, and then my son came over first, because my son came over later on with my cousin who traveled with him. So yeah, it's just best to probably, if you come here first, You can decide to write your OSCE first and then probably go back and take your child, or you could have probably someone come travel in with your child, your mom, your cousin, your sister, whoever that you think that would be best to travel with your child. And then whoever has to travel with that child, you're gonna have to include them in the application of your child's visa. There's like there's like a section where they ask who's going to be traveling with your child. Is it you, or is it a guardian, or is it a friend, or whoever? And you have to include their names and their passport numbers and everything else. So and then the other thing is, when you travel into the UK with your child, later on, you also have to provide an address. I know, right? It's quite a lot, but it really isn't. Like, if you know what you're doing, it won't really be that overwhelming, right? So cool. Then you also have to have an address that you're going to provide in the UK application. So it's like an address of where you're going to be living with that child, right? So you need to provide all those things. So if at all you're gonna be coming here with the child traveling on the same date, I think you're gonna have to have prepared things like accommodation well in time, so that you are able to put all those necessary information when you're applying for that visa, right? So most trusts don't even allow you guys to. Most trusts don't allow you to come with family. So I think it would be best to probably, if you want to travel with your child on the same time when you're traveling in, probably find accommodation before you arrive, so that you know when you're from the airport, you just go straight to the house. But then again, I think, like I'm saying, I would advise that it's best to travel with your child. To travel first alone, then settle, find accommodation, and when you're applying for the child's visa, you have the rightful addresses, you have every documentation to show that yes, I do have the right and the ability to take care of my child here, right? Another thing is the documents that you need to provide. Definitely need to provide the birth certificate. So if the father's child is in the birth certificate, you need to provide like a letter from both you and the child to show that yes, I have allowed Boradi to travel with my son Wenzi to the UK. He will be living with her mom, what. So if the child is not, the father's child is not in the birth certificate, you don't need to have like anything, literally nothing from the father. You just need to write like a letter. You just need to write a letter that just states out everything, that states out you just need to have a letter that states out that you are the sole responsibility, you're the only sole parental, you hold sole responsibility of the child, and you'll be the one who'll be taking care of cost, accommodation, and everything else for the child. So you just need that's your birth certificate, that letter. You also need to in the letter you also have to include the address as to where you guys will be living, and there in the UK, and then you also have to have the passport, obviously. So those are just basic, and the tbis certificate. That's just basically it. Children don't really need a lot, because already your visa has been approved, so they wouldn't really need much or quite a lot of documentation from the child side, right? So cool. Now for the process of traveling with your husband, right? This is like either bringing your spouse to the UK, your husband or your wife, your boyfriend or your girlfriend. What I would really advise, right? I really think that it's always best to, let me start off first with let me not say I advise, because I'm gonna sound biased, right? Let me start off first with those that are married, right? So if you know you're married and you want your partner to be here, husband or wife, I think it's best that when you do apply for your visa, it's always best, it's just the same thing. Like once you've gotten your visa, it's either when you apply for your visa, you include their visa as well, and then also when you apply for your visa, before I forget, let me just hold this husband and wife thingy. The total cost, right? Total cost for children's visa is it's equivalent to 3,200 pula, which is I think that was like 250 pounds, 260 pounds, somewhere there. But yeah, it was somewhere there. But the cost that I know that I paid was 3,200 pula. I'm not really sure how much that was in pounds, right? So you can convert that if you're in South Africa. You can convert that and see how much it costs you in rands, but I'm not sure. Probably the prices do get updated every now and then, so do check them out on the website. I just dropped it down in the description below so that you can see what are the current updates are. So yes, back to the husband and wife, right? So if you know, it's the same thing. If you know that you want to travel in with your wife or your husband, most people, what they do is, So funny how I know about the husband and wife thing yet I'm not married, right? Crazy, right? Right. So you just need to, like, if you're applying for your visa, you could let your trust or your agency know that you want to include your wife. So then what you do is you're gonna have to pay for your spouse's price fee, for the visa fee. So what you'll do is you apply for your visa and your spouse's visa at the same time. So when they do come, they're gonna come at once, right? And then there's the option of, yes, getting your visa first, and then from there you include them in your visa, under your visa, and then you do all those dependent all things, because that's just gonna fall into your visa as dependents but spouse dependents, right? So yeah, you're just gonna apply them, and then the necessary documentation. I'm not sure the specifics, like I know of the child because I did the child, so I'm not really sure, but maybe when I get there I will really know, and then maybe I'll try to update you guys with the information. So but yeah, it's just basically it. You just include them under your visa, and yeah, and then you'll be good to go. But then again, they wouldn't allow you, like the hospital that you're going to be living in, they wouldn't allow you to bring any family members with you, like I said. So like I said, if you want to bring, or if you want to travel with your spouse, you're gonna have to like look for accommodation before that. But I have like a few friends here that I'm living with currently, and they had their spouses come in later on. What they did is they're currently living in the hospital accommodation, and they left their country visa their partners. So they literally left, and then maybe 2 weeks later their partner's visa came out, and then now can I get in the visa, there's like a date to say you have to be in the UK from this time to between this time and this time. So you shouldn't allow that time to overlap, because you're gonna have to reapply and you have to gonna pay again. So make sure that you look out for those dates. It's the same thing as the child. Make sure you have to look out for those dates, that within those dates you are in the UK. So if it ever happens that I'm still in that hospital accommodation, for example, I had left Botswana, say maybe I was married or I'm married, and then like I left Botswana while we were in the process of applying for my husband's visa to join me here. So what happens is, if or when I land in the UK and then later on my husband's visa ebeetswa, what happens is remember there's like that time frame. So if it ever happens that that time frame falls under a time where I'm still in the hospital accommodation, or I haven't yet found accommodation, it's quite advisable that whoever that's in the UK, say for me, like I said, for example, I'm gonna have to look for accommodation for my husband while I'm still living in the hospital accommodation. So he's probably going to be living somewhere maybe nearby where I am while I'm still here. So and then probably he's gonna have to like look for a job or something while we're still looking for a suitable place for us to live. So yeah, getting a job wouldn't be so hard, because now he has the right to live and work in the UK. So I'm just gonna have to like look for a house for him. It's much easier when I'm this side or when I'm in the UK. So it's gonna be much easier for him to like get a job. Like a house, find a house for him. I'll do house viewings for him, and I'll talk to the agents on his behalf and all these things. And when he comes from the airport, he goes straight to the house, and then I would always visit every now and then until we find a suitable place for us to live. So for adults and for husbands and wives, I think it's much easier, unlike for kids, because you obviously can't get your kid live somewhere else when also unlike for me, like I'm saying, it was just a blessing for me to have my mom here, who lives and currently is living with my son until I found a suitable place, and then I can take him and go live with him. So that's just basically how it works, right? So with the husband and wife, that's just how it works. And then for the boyfriend and girlfriends, because if you like but yeah, but I think with the boyfriend and girlfriends one, I think there's a possible one, because I think I've heard my friend who visited or who lives here through the boyfriend and girlfriend visa, because apparently the UK acknowledges that not everyone believes in marriage. So some people can rather be your spouse, they can rather be your partner and not your husband or your wife. So there's that visa. I haven't really gotten to it because that's not my portion. That's not my portion. So I've never really went into details on it. So do check it out. Just go through the website and just see the requirements. But I think I would advise if you're still in a relationship, maybe have constant visits where your partner could just, or your boyfriend, your girlfriend could just keep visiting for like 6 months and then they'd go back. I know for sure other people are, your partner was probably working and they wouldn't have time to stay for that long, for like 6 months with you, so they're gonna have to go back. Yeah, but get them a ticket, or let them get themselves a ticket and then come here to the UK for like 2-3 months or something, or maybe a month at a leafy, maybe 2 weeks or something, just to come spend time with you and then probably go back. It's just visiting until you get married. There is that portion of like applying for boyfriend girlfriend visa, but I'm not really sure about that one, right? I'm not really sure, but I'm sure that you can apply for that visa. You sure can. There is another visa again that also includes family, that is like your mother, your children, your mother, your aunties, or whoever that you would feel like you want to live with them in the UK, your mother, your father. There is that visa, and it is really, really, really working for quite a number of people here. But when I was reading through the website though, I just saw that it only works for if you're inviting your mother if you are only under 18. So maybe you came here to the UK and you were studying and now you are under 18, so you probably need adult supervision. I'm not really sure about that one. It's just like the boyfriend and girlfriend's visa, because that really didn't really so I really didn't really get into much detail about it, but like just to give you the heads up, it is there, it does exist too. So do your research on it and see if you could love it. I know my friend is looking into it, so it would be nice if I heard her with me, or I would have asked her or gotten some information from her before I did this video. But my friend is really looking into bringing her mother here, and she wants her to live and work here. So I'm not really sure how far that is with that process, but one thing I know is it does exist and is real, and it's something that you would definitely love to get into. Right, so let's get into jobs. Like if your partner or your husband or your wife is, before I go ahead with the jobs part of it, most of the time visas usually allow for children's visa. They I'm not really sure about the children that are above 18 years old, but I'm sure it will and can help, but I'm sure it will and does exist, but I'm sure it will be approved even if your child is above 18 years old. But I've once seen like a record where or a statement where it was just information sharing that only below 18s are allowed to relocate back here or relocate into the UK if your mom, like if say for example I have a child who's below 18, but I'm not really sure about how wana ale above 18 years old. I'm not really sure, but like I'm saying, the UK just keeps on changing things and developing some of the things in their websites, so it would be really great for you to check it out, right? Great. Jobs, like I said, yes, jobs, do not worry. Emphasis in bold, capital letters, underlined, do not worry. Okay, don't worry about your partner finding a job here, or your husband, your wife, or your sister, your mom, or whoever finding a job in the UK. As long as they've got a right to live and work here, they can have access to any job of their dreams, any job they want to apply for, even though it's going to be quite hard to step up, because like the other day I had a conversation with one of my friends here who's Nigerian. The husband arrived I think 2 weeks ago, and the guy's an engineer, and right now he's working in an engineer company, but his status or the position that he was in Nigeria has went quite a bit little down, even though he's working around the engineering section, or he's still following his career in engineering. Do you understand? Like, you probably won't continue, marketing manager, you won't get here and still continue that post of being, let me not say you won't. The chances of it continuing in that role is quite low. They'll probably take you a bit lower just so they can see you developing, and then you'll probably get there or even higher with time. So I really want to assure you that once you get a job here, and then your partner comes in and they're not a nurse or they're not in the line of being a nurse, or they're not in the health career, you shouldn't worry about it, because they have the right to live and to work in the UK. Luena, as that nurse, you have the right to work anywhere. Like, you can work and do like side jobs, you can work in a restaurant, you can do anything. Unlike when you have a visiting visa and you're not restricted to like just visiting and being a tourist and not working anywhere. So do not worry about that one. They can apply to as many jobs as they can. All right, so yeah guys, pack your bags, come to the UK, let's live a good life, with good money, with good economic statuses, with good housing, transportation, every single thing. Even though yes, there are a few downs here and there, but I would honestly prefer living in a place where there are a bit of those downs than there are a bit of there are a bit highs and a lot of lows, you understand? So yeah, if you're in the process of doing this whole thing, I really wish you all the best, and I really hope to see you soon. Let's come to the UK, live here, and do our best here. Let's bring our children here and allow them to live the best that they can. Their future is in great hands. They're gonna have they have bright futures when they're here. The schools here, they're so good. They have good opportunities to work, good jobs here too. I mean, I'm so excited to see how Wendy is going to grow in this country. I'm just wondering as well, is he going to get the British accent, or is he gonna get the Setswana accent, or just my accent in general? Like, I'm just so happy and excited for that. So yeah, let's just do this. Let's do this anything. So come on here guys, and let's have fun. Let's live the best lives. Let's live the life of our dreams, and let's not limit ourselves to a country because we fear, because we doubt, because we don't believe in us prospering in a different country. It is possible. I mean, look at me. Alright guys, I'll see you guys next time. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope that this video was quite helpful. The link to the www.uk.gov website is on my description to give you all the necessary information that you may need. I hope to see you guys soon. Bye.